you're number one. You
Yeah.
are. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of your kids.
No.
So focus on you. You need to be good. Welcome to Cover Your Assets, your podcast for navigating the financial side of divorce. I'm Joseph Cruz, and I am here with my co-host, Jade Eagles.
Life doesn't always deal you the best hand, but we're here to help you CYA in every way, because when it comes to your assets, it's all about playing your cards right. Hey, Joe.
What's up, Jade?
Just coming off a lovely weekend.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's talk about a lovely story. Let's start with story time. Okay.
Let's go for it.
You're married with beautiful, perfect children. Life is good.
You and your husband, made that joint decision a long time ago that you would stop working, raise the children full time while your husband worked hard, with his career supporting the family.
Okay. I've been the model wife and mother.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Naturally.
Making sure my husband and kids are prepped with everything they need for work and school every morning. Carrying that mental load and running the household while they're away, and greeting everyone with a clean home and delicious dinner every night.
Sounds fantastic. But today, he comes home and tells you that he wants a divorce.
What? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said it. What the fuck?
Crashing.
So today's episode is about stay-at-home moms or SAHMs, and, being a SAHM and finding out that your husband wants a divorce.
Yeah.
It's not always that way. I know you went to a magic show yesterday.
Yeah, I went to the Magic Castle in LA, and there was one of the guys who got pulled up on stage. And when the magician asked what he does, he's like, "Oh, I stay at home and care for my daughter." I was like, "Oh,
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
but he's probably in the minority."
He is in the minority.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
Right. So, and look.
So this is going to be more geared towards. Well, they've got they've got a name, a song.
Psalm.
Yeah. So
Psalm.
yeah.
And look, if you are the stay-at-home dad and you find yourself getting dumped by your breadwinner wife, please listen on. Otherwise, this episode's not for you.
Just change out her to him.
That's right. That's right. So what we're going to talk about today is what to do in the immediate aftermath.
Yep.
Right? Feel the feels, get some emotional support.
Yeah. Once you get through and regain that, composure, collect information fast.
Start thinking ahead. Yeah. During the divorce proceedings, we're going to talk about potentially hiring a team to help you. It's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
Professional help.
And, I guess hiring that's, we're going to talk about whether they be like friends. You got to build up your team now, don't you?
Yeah.
As well as, therapists and other professionals. And then we're also going to look at, after the divorce. So creating that new normal. We've spoken about some of this bit beforehand there. But even if you didn't have control beforehand, if you weren't the CFO spouse, it's all on you now.
And that's okay.
The good and the bad, so don't be scared. But you've got that control.
And you know what? If you don't like it, you don't like your new normal,
You can
you're
change
now
it.
in control to change it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard. It's going to be okay.
So why are we even talking about this?
Why are we talking about this? Look, the fact of the matter is it sucks, but stay-at-home moms are overlooked a lot, tend to not be respected for the hard work that they do in society.
Yeah.
Right?
I also think they're just taken for granted. That it's that somewhat monotonous job which can looked at like it's out of sight. It's just like happening in the background there. But there's a lot that happens.
There's so much that happens.
Yeah.
I actually don't know that I could do it.
I think
I'll be honest.
yeah, and I think you can feel
it's
taken
hard.
advantage of, like no one's appreciating what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You get overlooked and you want credit for what you've done because what you've done is really hard.
Yeah.
Your mom was a stay-at-home mom.
Especially dealing with those perfect children.
Oh.
You're right.
Perfect children.
When they're
Perfect
sleeping.
husband.
Yeah, that's
please.
right. But yeah, look, it's obviously going to get harder, but
it's going to change and it's going to get harder.
Yeah, but it's important to know that there's people who have your back. We've got your back.
And it can be okay.
Yeah.
Right? It can be okay.
Yeah. So here's a little interesting little tidbit.
Tidbits.
Tidbits. Because there's
tidbits,
a lot of bit of information here. From a 2015 Pew Research survey found that women are much more likely than men to report having a significant career interruption related to family caregiving.
So among adults who have ever worked, fully 42% of moms say they have reduced their work hours in order to care for a child or other family member. This compares with 28% of fathers.
Yeah.
So big difference.
Yeah. And roughly the same share of women, so 39%, say that they have taken a significant amount of time off from work in order to care for a family member, compared to only 24% of fathers.
So the difference between those two, because it sounds similar, is some have had to reduce their work hours and some have had to take a lot of vacation time.
Yep.
To care for their family members. And then about 27%, or, a quarter of moms with some work experience, say at some point in their working life, they quit their job altogether in order to care for a child or other family member. So who are these other family members? Let's just mention that.
It could be, we've spoken, I think, just recently about the sandwich generation.
We've talked about the sandwich generation. I don't know that we talked about it on the podcast.
Oh, I thought we did. Anyway,
Anywho.
But a sandwich generation is where you're that generation where you're not only having to care for like younger, kids, but you're also maybe having to caring for aging parents.
Yes. And then you have to care up and down, right? Yeah.
So that's definitely taxing.
That's a lot.
Finding out that you're getting divorced, it's definitely going to be emotional, correct?
Yeah. So look, of course you could be that stay-at-home mom that says, fuck this, I'm out of here. Sorry, I am full of those F-bombs today.
Jeez. I don't know if we have to censor you or what. Where did this come from?
So yes, you could be that person saying, see ya.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, look, I'm part of these divorce mom Facebook groups or divorced women Facebook groups. And I swear at least 3 to 5 times a day, there's another stay-at-home mom that's posting saying, I was married for 25 years, 32 years, X number of years. Yep. And I thought everything was fine. And my husband came home 2 weeks ago and said he's out of here.
Yeah. It's just changed the person's names and same sort of story, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately, right? Yeah. So it happens a lot.
And which means, therefore, is some stuff that you can learn from it.
Yeah. We want to help. I want to help those ladies.
I know
right?
you've spoken about it beforehand, and maybe we can kind of talk about it a bit again here. But it's important, though, very important.
Especially when you first find out.
To seek support and emotional as well.
Yeah. Really for the emotional needs, because you're going to need to put on your business hat after.
And I think that comes in the form of obviously friends, family, but also professionals like a therapist,
Yeah, you need to invest in a therapist just because, sometimes friends and family, they're good, but
sometimes they're too good at being your cheerleader and they're not maybe going to give you the honest, answers that you need.
Yeah, either they're that relentless cheerleader, like, you're going to be great.
Yeah, it's all fine. You got it.
Or maybe the other friends or family member where you actually just want to talk and they keep giving you unsolicited advice that you're not ready for. Right. And you're just like, dude, just listen.
Yeah.
I'm sad. Right. So invest in that therapist. I use the word invest because yes, it's going to cost money, but you're worth that money. Yeah. Invest in yourself.
And there's going to be a reward. There's going to be growth that you're going to have from that investment. Yeah.
Right.
Self-development. Yeah.
Right. So we talk about the emotions like we did in a previous episode because you need to address those emotions. You need to think about the emotions and identify what you're feeling. We need you to, go through the stages of
grief, which is going to be a bit of denial.
Be sad, deny for a little, right? Denial is not your friend here. Yeah. It's not your friend. Revenge, not your friend either.
Yeah.
It's not going to help you.
Try and keep that out, yeah.
You know what? Think about it. Like it. Write a little story. Share with your close friends. Don't post to Facebook. Don't do actual revenge. It's not going to help.
Yeah. You really need to get, I guess, those clear eyes on reality, correct?
Yeah.
And if you focus on those other things that we've just listed there, it can impair it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It can get it cloudy.
Yeah. And we need you to re-rank your family here because maybe you didn't think of yourself as number one before. Maybe it was your children or maybe it was your husband. You're number one. You
Yeah.
are. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of your kids.
No.
So focus on you. You need to be good.
Yeah,
You
it's
need
not
to be
being
okay.
selfish.
It's not being selfish.
Yeah.
You need to focus on yourself.
Yeah. No, incredibly important.
All right. So now that you have your emotion, you've addressed your emotions and you're getting help for that, help and assistance. And I'm not saying help that you're crazy. You're just getting help. It's okay.
Yeah.
Help is all right. You're doing that over here. Now the business side of divorce is over here.
Yeah.
Right? So now.
This is where you should have already been working on getting all those financial statements and collecting all your financials.
Now it's time to start hauling ass and start collecting those financial bits of info and saving money as fast as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Seriously.
But wait, I thought couples are meant to be transparent about their financials.
They are supposed to be.
Oh, okay. Not always the case.
You know what? If you got blindsided with from your perfect husband that he wanted a divorce 2 weeks ago, maybe the stuff hasn't been that transparent.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the reality is that it's not always the case. And we could spend endless podcasts talking about examples where we've seen it, where it hasn't worked that way there.
That it wasn't always transparent. So yes, the idea is that you're going to be transparent. The reality is, you know what? You need to look out for number one, and you need to start getting all that financial information now, especially if you're not that CFO spouse.
So,
right?
and it's, before things start maybe potentially disappearing as well.
Yes. Or being inaccessible.
That's right.
Yes.
So start getting like paper copies, electronic copies of like tax returns, investments, loans, bank statements,
credit card statements,
pay stubs if possible as well.
His pay stubs.
Yeah.
Right.
And sharing yours as well,
Well, you're a stay-at-home mom.
Oh, yeah. Good point. Sorry.
Right. All right. So figure out how much it actually costs to run that household that you've run beautifully up until now and continue to. So you need to complete a budget worksheet. You can find that online. You can email us. Analyze your various bills. If all of your bank accounts and credit cards are joint, you need to start opening your own set.
Yeah.
Okay.
So unless you're in the fortunate position where your soon-to-be ex-husband or your husband is making a large amount of money there, and has a lot of assets, alimony and child support, unfortunately, are not really going to be enough to support you.
Fully support you to continue being a stay-at-home mom.
Correct. That's right.
Yeah.
It's just not.
I mean, there are some cases, but most of the time it's not going to be the
And
same.
even when those are awarded, there's a large percentage where they actually aren't paying that.
Yeah. And depending on the state, it could only be for a few years.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So look, grieve about this reality for a moment because it's sad. Your old life is over.
You have right to. Like, it's like, wait, hang on. We had a deal.
Yeah.
I'm giving up everything to run the household.
Yeah. Yeah. Grieve about it.
Yeah.
But
little.
You need to start thinking forward instead of backwards. And you're probably going to have to work. Okay. So if you're able, before your divorce, start signing up for classes, training, while you still have access to joint accounts.
Yeah.
And a few more months of him supporting the household. So, classes could be free, like YouTube classes, teaching Excel or something, to community college classes, to professional certification classes.
Yeah. And look, if you're unsure, you can obviously seek the support and help and, of hiring someone to maybe help guide you through
Career
that process
coach
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. While doing this, you can think short, mid, and long term.
Yeah.
Right. So
coming out of like being, a stay-at-home mum there, maybe it's now not the time to do that, goal of yours of, being a career, like being some sort of coach there that it's only going to pay you $5,000 a year.
Right. So I met someone that, had a went back to school, stay-at-home mom, had a master's degree in counseling and therapy.
Yeah.
And while married, was earning about $5,000 a year, carving out a specialization in corporate happiness training, because that's really what she wanted to specialize in.
Yeah.
Now divorce is looming. $5,000 is not going to cut it. So maybe take that, counseling and therapy master's degree and be that therapist. Yeah. Even if that's not what you wanted originally, you need to make money.
Yeah.
You have to.
And maybe you do need to be looking at what's going to pay you more even in the short term, so that you can then find your new footing, get established.
Yeah.
And then you can still work towards that later on there, but you need money coming in now.
You need money. So higher paying jobs that maybe aren't quite as rewarding. So I think all of us might, I don't know, some of us might want to do jobs that would have paid us less. But the reality is that we need to work for a living and, you know, find something that's okay for your conscience that can still pay you. So,
yeah.
And look, it's, again, denial is not your friend. We do have a friend that was a stay-at-home mom and was just waiting for her youngest kid to go back to school.
So that she could...
not back to school, start school so that she could start working. And then that day came and went and she found all sorts of reasons not to go.
Well,
initially.
I think what happened in that was it was also during COVID. So
Right.
then there was this more intense period of time of like having to homeschool and stuff like that.
Right.
And I think when they got an opportunity to go back to school, there was this wanting to hold on to that because like, this is my purpose now. What am I going to do?
Right.
Incredibly qualified, but yet
Super qualified. Yeah.
yet there was that, you know, fear or whatever it is, that emotion like holding it back
if you've
there.
been out of the workforce for 12 years, like that is a long time.
And
Acknowledge it's okay. It's so scary.
And when she did get back in, I think she aimed low.
She did.
Yeah. So she did. She was financially able to do that because she's in a great marriage and stuff like that.
So slightly different, you know,
Yeah.
different situation, but
she's now already got tired of that. She's worn out through that lower paying job there and she's aiming higher again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just getting that confidence.
She got her toe in and now she's like, yes. And look, be open to the idea that going back to work might actually be great. Could bring you joy.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of feeling bad that you're, you know, forced to work, it could be an awesome thing, right? So this same person that we were talking about was unhappy at the time for a number of reasons in her marriage and like where she was and couldn't really put her finger on it, was
Some
trying
arguments
to.
as well.
Some arguments.
Yeah.
And then when she started working again part-time, you know, she rediscovered her self-confidence. She rediscovered her voice. Honestly, she got louder. Yeah. Literally louder. And her sense of self-worth, right?
And that was accepted by her husband, you know, so.
Her husband actually really liked it. Yeah. And she loved that she could, you know, help pay for those vacations, buy a new couch. And it's like, I bought this.
Yep.
She loved it.
I guess then you got to look at what sort of, you know, divorce process is really appropriate for your situation though. Correct?
Right. So now you need to research. This divorce is going to happen.
Because it can be done, you know, you can obviously, people think naturally of just hiring attorneys and stuff like that. But that's just one of the ways, you know, you don't have to do that. You can do it yourself. There are
do-it-yourself methods. There's mediation.
Yeah.
Collaborative. There are those lawyers. Yeah. You know, it can go from cheap to really expensive.
Correct. And obviously, if you weren't the CFO spouse, you know, you should look at like really hiring like a CDFA to help you or help both of you really understand and analyze your financial picture there. And I guess to come to an agreeable settlement for everyone.
Right.
Or look at settlement options. Yeah.
Yeah, that's agreeable for everyone so that you can be an amicable divorce family.
Yeah.
As to the extent that that's possible,
because,
right?
you know, especially, you know, we've got kids here involved.
They're going to be intertwined with each other for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you are super high net worth or just high net worth and you suspect your spouse has been perhaps dishonest financially, you can also consider hiring something called a forensic accountant, a forensic accountant to help sniff out those hidden incomes and assets.
I can think of a story from yours where it was the husband's intention to leave for many years. And there was a period of time over many years where there was funds disappearing into the unknown. And so that when it finally came about there, it made it a lot more harder to try and trace those assets.
Yeah. And quote unquote failing of businesses and creating new ones.
Yeah.
So that those assets would disappear with the quote unquote failed business.
So there's no harm in hiring a professional to help you with that because they've got the skill set to help you.
You don't have to do it by yourself.
You're already going to have enough on your plate.
Yes. Yeah. Now, divorce is final. Time to reassess, right? Life is going to be hard. It is. just for a few years.
Yeah.
It's going to be. It's a transition time.
We've spoken about our struggles of like Joe having to change around all these different houses.
Yeah, to play Goldilocks, live in different places. So this is going to be up to you. You're in the driver's seat. Are you going to wallow in sadness over your misfortune? Or are you going to take this opportunity to create something new and awesome and something that you could be proud of?
Yeah. And look, it's a choice. It's a conscious choice that you have to make.
It's a mindset choice. Yeah.
Yeah. And look, and those little steps that you constantly take. So you might be struggling having to pay your bills, but each week, just I guess try and set yourself attainable goals.
Like three attainable goals
that you can kind of like be ticking off there. And also maybe list some long-term goals.
3 longer-term goals.
You know what? Even some midterm goals there.
Yeah,
so by breaking it down that way, you can kind of be working on things that like you can be ticking off like in the short term. So you're feeling encouragement. Yeah. But also still be working towards those long-term goals as well.
So that you know that you're getting somewhere, right? You need that encouragement from you. Mm-hmm. So like 3 attainable goals weekly, pay that bill, or, treat the kids to a tiny treat. Yeah. Right? Something. Those things matter.
Yeah.
So with that,
time now for divorce this or that.
Yes, and
little drum roll there or hand
our
tap
producer just has slid us a question.
The nominees. So for this week's divorce this or that, we've got to decide between being a 1950s stay-at-home mother, or a bit modern now, a modern 2024 stay-at-home dad. Oof. Removing a gender from it all. No gender from it. Or your gender from it.
Well, I think I'd rather be 2020s stay-at-home dad because I don't
Netflix.
cook.
Yeah.
I don't cook, so I'm going to order. I'm going to order all our meals to be perfectly prepared and presented by the time my kids come home and my husband. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to pick the 1950s stay-at-home mom because I've seen the future now. So I already now know what technology. I'm going to start. What are all those meal services that you get? I'm going to have that like 3 years before they get launched. I'm just going to like.
You're going to create that when you're a stay-at-home mom?
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to
You're inventing it.
I'm going to find other stay-at-home moms, and we're going to come.
This is not Back to the Future.
Well,
it's not Back to the Future.
It's my decision. Yeah, so I'm being empowered to do this. So yeah, that's what I'm picking.
And you know what? Yeah, while I'm the stay-at-home dad, I'm going to learn how to play guitar. Because I think that's what stay-at-home dads do, right? Something.
Everyone, and as long as you can sing, you're set.
And, yeah.
Well, that was fun. So we both picked different genders. So I don't know.
Reversal.
I don't know if that means anything. So.
All right. So today we talked about you're a stay-at-home mom and your husband wants a divorce.
Yeah, and we spoke about like that immediate aftermath.
What to do.
Yeah, feeling the feel. Okay,
feeling the feels. Get that emotional support. Get your head on straight.
Yeah, and then we kind of moved on and talked about like I guess regaining your composure. And collecting of that information fast.
And thinking ahead.
Yeah.
And then during the divorce proceedings, hiring that professional team to help you.
Yeah. In addition to family and friends. Yeah.
Right. And then
investing in it.
That's right.
Yeah. And then obviously we spoke about, after divorce, and,
that new normal.
Yeah. So hopefully you've enjoyed this week's episode. We did. And I enjoyed that divorce this or that. That was fun.
Yes, that was fun.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Joe.
And I'm Jade. And we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks' time.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Cover Your Assets with your hosts, Joseph Cruz and Jade Eagles. Jade and Joe are advisors of the Wealth Garden FS, an SEC registered investment advisor. The information is general and educational in nature and should not be considered financial, tax, or legal advice. It is not intended to serve as a substitute for personalized advice or as a recommendation or solicitation of any particular security, strategy, or investment product. Please consult with a qualified professional about your individual situation.
Advisory services are only offered to clients or prospective clients where the Wealth Garden Financial Services and its representatives are properly licensed or exempt from licensure. No advice may be rendered by the Wealth Garden Financial Services unless a client service agreement is in place.